All right, so let's get right into this. I'm back again. I guess I'm only doing one content video a day with actual content in it, but we can get right into it right now. So I have a bit of an idea. I'm gonna roll on it, and the idea I'm gonna start with is the true life thing. I haven't talked about true life in a while, and to be very honest, I haven't watched anything new on the guy. I haven't really seen anything new on True Life. But I had watched pretty much all of his well, not all, well, some of his interviews I had watched. Some of them were very lengthy, and I had watched the whole thing. Almost felt like I had to. Almost I talk about having those New York vibes, or visiting. Whatever the case is, having the New York vibes, and how even though that's in the past that I had those vibes. And I was actually listening to Mobb Deep a lot. Like I was really getting into Mobb Deep, and I'd always known about Mobb Deep and listened to them, but then I really started getting into it, on a level where I could relate, because I felt like I had the same vibes that Mobb Deep had in New York, and everybody in New York pays respect to Mobb Deep. They're just too good not to. And when I had those vibes, those New York vibes, I was really like, I was watching their music videos and I was like, holy man, I'm feeling it. Even their old stuff that people didn't know about, I was really feeling it. Now with True Life, I saw all of his interviews before. Now I still listen to some of his songs, which is funny. But I just feel like he really brings something genuine. You know what I mean? Although I have said negative things about True Life, and a lot of times I feel like, but here's the thing: he doesn't have to be a replica of me. He doesn't have to be the exact same guy on the same side doing the exact same thing for me to say that I like him, or I listen to him. He could have changed when he grew up. He could have taken different decisions, and he could have done all that, and that's fine. But the fact that he was an artist, and to me, he was actually living the real life. And that's why I like listening to his old music. It's very passionate. He goes hard. And really, the one thing that I can honestly say, it's not like True Life ever knew who I was. But if True Life was around and watching my video, and if I could say something that he would hear, and he'd smile, and I'd say, I feel the same way about certain things. I feel the same way when remember, he always, even in his songs, uses the word funny style nigga. He always says that, these guys mistook me for a funny style nigga, and that's not who I am, and I'm a real dude, and I take things in a real way, and I listen to his shit, and I relate to it, especially the old stuff. And I'm not talking about when he did that track with Mobb Deep. I'm talking about later on. I think it was early 2000s or something, when he came out with these songs, and I feel them every time I listen to them, because he's passionate about it. It's like, I just got fucked over on something, or I didn't get what I was supposed to get, or I was treated like a funny style nigga, and this is the way that I feel about it. And I even like, he actually, so sometimes he does kind of say negative things, but he has a song which is kind of just for Latin people. It's a Latin party song. They actually have the I think they call it the clave. It's like the sticks. It's like these Latin sticks that they play. And he's got that, and he's got everything in the background. And it's a real like Latin party song, like a cultural song. And I had to give him respect for that. He also has these passionate songs, where he's talking about like, I feel like I got treated bad, and I'm about to take it to him. I'm about to get into this. But I know that certain things, that the way that I relate to him, I understand he feels a certain way about things, and I feel a certain way about things. He talks about, so he apparently didn't have a good growing up or something, because in his songs, he always talk about, we didn't have money, and I was trying to rob. Mom told me, go work at McDonald's if you have to, you know what I mean? Who cares if people laugh, blah, blah, blah. And he says things like that. Now, I don't really believe a lot of that stuff, but in New York, it's not, you see, when you're around a lot of rich people, it's not cool to talk just about money. Oh, I got 3 million right now in my account. I got 100 grand in cash in my Louis Vuitton bag. That shit just doesn't sound cool, man. You gotta come with something deeper and more real than that. You know what I mean? And this guy brings it, man. Like he takes money the way that I feel like a real Latin person takes money. we think about money in a similar way. I actually robbed the bank. I actually ran up in a bank with something in my hand, pointing it at the bank manager's head and getting him to give me money. Taking the bank teller, taking her out. Yeah, anyways, we should not get into that. We won't get into that. That's kind of very extreme content. But, but I did that, and I know what it's like. Yeah, I mean, I know what it's like, when you really feel that way about like money and respect and things. They just kind of go together, and I feel the things he's feeling. The only thing I feel is that is that he kind of, and I feel it's a little bit of disrespect. Just a little, like if we were cooking, it would be a pinch of disrespect or just a little dash of disrespect. He kind of disrespects real dude sometimes, and I feel that maybe he feels disrespected or something, or he's just too into the party scene that he doesn't want to, you know what I mean. He has a certain face to show, he feels, and that's probably why he got into rap music. But again, he doesn't have to be the exact copy of me for me to relate to him or listen to what he's saying. And I listen to his songs and I like that shit. When he sounds angry and passionate and fired up at the beginning of the track, I feel angry, fired up, and passionate just listening to it. You know what I mean? And again, and I remember when he kind of wanted to leave that. And this wasn't his identity. Like, I actually grew up really fucked up. You know what I mean? With this guy, I don't think that was his identity. I think that he thought it was cool when he was younger, that he thought that gangster stuff was cool, gangster culture was cool, hip hop and rap was cool. And I think sometimes he talks about living fucked up or growing up ghetto, but it's just that he wanted to hang out in the ghetto because all his buddies were hanging out in the ghetto. And and that was the life that he was leading, and he thought that life was the shit, and that's why he was living like that. And I think later on when he got older, he was kind of like, that money never left his heart. When he got older, money didn't leave his heart. His heart still had money inside of it. You know what I mean? But and I'm not talking about dollars and cents on some kind of Indo level or something like that. I'm not talking about Indo levels, not Endo levels, Indo levels. I'm not talking about Indo levels over pennies. But you could tell like that money was in his heart. And when he kind of left that identity, he left that, and that wasn't his real identity. You know what I mean? That wasn't it. You see, if I was a rich kid and I thought that shit was cool, and I even promoted that or rapped or did whatever, I wouldn't want to leave my rich kid identity. You know what I mean? Because that's who I really was, and that's who I grew up as. Just saying, if I had been, I wouldn't want to leave that. So I would just say that, this is who I am, but I'm still into this lifestyle. I'm still into hip hop. I'm still into this gangster shit, and that's it. You know what I mean? But I think that, kind of misportraying who he was, at the end of the day, he became who he was. And although this guy is about his money, he has a song called Yanya. With music. So he comes out with a bunch. He never had music videos, and he comes out with a bunch of music videos. He's got Rick Ross, Future, and name whoever you want. He's got all these people on the music videos. He has a song called Yanya where he burns a $10 bill. I actually did that once. I actually did that once. I was in the courthouse, and I had a $10 bill on me, and I went to the washroom and at the toilet, and I burnt the $10 bill, and I put the ashes in a mint, like an empty mint box. It was a small empty mint box. I took the mints out of it, I ate the mints, and I put the ashes of the $10 bill in the mint box. And then it was funny because then he did that song Yanya, which is only 3 years ago. So it's very recent. He did Yanya, and he's burning the dollar bill, and he's doing all that crazy shit. And it's all about money. He's got Ferraris and Lamborghinis. He's got Rick Ross. He's got Future. So he's fucking with a lot of money. And the money never left his heart. But that whole identity that I feel like he loved, he kind of gave it up. For me, I grew up fucked up, and the truth, and that's what I always say. And I've always said that. Like, dude, I grew up fucked up. I grew up genuinely fucked up. I mean, there was no meals cooked regularly. There was no meals even. The first time I went to jail, I'm like, God damn, you guys get 3 meals a day. And this guy goes to me, this older guy, white guy goes to me, you need to get out more if you think this is good food, and he was right. I did need to get out more, to understand how good food was, And I think that's the good thing about going to Dubai was, the only good thing about Dubai was the food and getting that food experience. But really, yeah, But I actually grew up fucked up. For me, the gangster thing came way later, like when I was older. Like the gangster shit came when I was older. You know what I mean? I wasn't gangster at all. I was trying to be as preppy as I could be. The entire time when I was growing up, I was trying to be as preppy as I could be. And somehow, some way, that life found me. I didn't find that life. Not only did that life find me, it took over me. It found me and it took over me. You know what I mean? To the point that I couldn't never turn my back on it, no matter how much I wanted or didn't want to. But that's part of like I think I wanted to be preppy. I mean, I was trying to make it looked cool to me to be preppy and be rich and achieve that, and that's all I wanted. I didn't do anything gangster at all. When I was younger, I didn't do anything gangster, but later on it was like I just came into it, and I think it was just, and really it was the Latin. I think the Latin part does a lot with it, because Latins in New York, I mean, they always represent, Latins in New York, the Puerto Ricans and all that, they really represent, man. They go hard, man, and people know that Latins run a lot of parts of New York City. Latins do run a lot of parts of them, and I think that was just who I was, but yeah, that was all I was really talking about, he doesn't like being treated like quote unquote a funny style nigga, and I totally understand that. People treat you like that, and it's not a good thing. What else can I say? Well, really, I'll tell you, man. Honestly, I feel like I really feel like I've actually been born into this world, but I'm not a baby. I'm an adult. Like I've just come into this world, where I've just come into existence, where I've just come into breathe. Like I say, I always say it's like breathing oxygen. Everybody's like, "What's the big deal? You're just breathing oxygen, nothing." No, to you, it's not a big deal. You've been breathing oxygen your whole life. I haven't breathed in any oxygen, man. I haven't gotten any oxygen, man. This is oxygen to me. Life right now, being a real person is like oxygen to me. But it's new, like I haven't had it, I'm getting it, and I'm like, well, I really like this. I feel like I'm maturing a lot. I still look very young, and I love that because the youthfulness should never leave me. But while having the youthfulness, to have the maturity and to mature and to grow and become a more mature and a stronger charactered person and an adult is a great thing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things I didn't have concepts about before that I actually have a very strong concept of now. Ideas like, same with True Life, some of the shit that he talks about, I listen to and I go, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, man. You know what I mean? Except for, the one thing that I would not get with him is that, I don't, anyways, we shouldn't even get into that, but that's really all it is, and pride is a big thing. I remember him coming back on that Mobb Deep beef and saying, oh, my pride got the better of me and all that. I don't think like that, man. My pride is very real, man. I don't just have money in my heart. I got a three-way split, okay? It's like three equal triangles in my heart. And one is money, one is respect, and one is pride. And pride is a very important thing to me. I take pride very seriously. And I'm not gonna come out and say, oh, my pride got my pride is in my heart, and if it means something to me today, it'll still mean something to me a year from now, 10 years from now. That pride will still be in my heart, and it's not going anywhere. What else can we really talk about? It is what it is, man. The guy was, what was he, like 16 years old? He wasn't even living at home. He was living somewhere else. He got older. He just learned to do things on his own, and he was living his own life, making his own connections, dealing with people on his own, started that rap career on his own, got well known, was earning money on his own, was doing his own business on his own, was doing all that on his own, was going to parties on his own, meeting people on his own. And that's something that makes, I feel like, for Latin people, especially coming out of New York, we don't have, okay. You know what? I'm running out of time, but I'll get into the second part because I really want to get into more of this.